Please welcome NASA's Acting Administrator, Robert Lightfoot.
All right, well, good afternoon and good morning to everyone. Welcome across the agency out in the colonies. Good to see everybody there. It's my pleasure to join you guys for the second half of our budget rollout. As you know, we did the rollout of the skinny budget a couple of months ago, and this is the, I guess I'll call it the fatter budget, right? As time goes, we all get a little heavier. So our budget got a little heavier over the last 2 months, and so that's what we'll get to share today. Seriously, my basic message is the same as it was last time when we talked a couple of months ago, is what this budget tells us to do is keep going. Keep doing what we've been doing. Very important for us to maintain that course and move forward as an agency with all the great things we're doing. It's really cool as I sit here and I see the different sites on the screen here. I know what we're going to do this afternoon with the Facebook Live activities where we show what's happening in every center related to this budget. That's really exciting to see. Sometimes you forget about that when you're in D.C., and so it's nice to see the real work going on behind us in some of these pictures. I do want to reiterate, as I always do, how proud I am of this team and the teams across the country and what they're doing and what they're accomplishing from an agency perspective. It's really neat to see what we can do. We're making a difference, right? I mean, we are the leaders in human exploration, science, technology, and aeronautics. That's what we do, and I couldn't be more proud of this team, and it's only possible through you guys' efforts, what you do every day. That's the only reason we're able to do what we do. I mean, if you just think about today, this Tuesday, while we're doing the budget rollout, which for us in D.C. is a big, exciting event, we've got an RS-25 test at Stennis today. We just finished a contingency EVA this morning on the space station. Awesome stuff going on every day in this agency, and it's pretty exciting to see how that works and how we do that. If you think about Cassini making its final dives through the rings of Saturn, and it's just amazing imagery we're getting back from that. It's just incredible what you guys can accomplish. This week we're going to partner with the FAA and a lot of our industry partners for the unmanned aircraft systems. We're going to actually fly some drones beyond line of sight for the pilots as we start trying to figure out how we're going to incorporate all that into our airspace as a nation. Pretty exciting. Space Tech is going to fly on the next SpaceX mission. They're going to fly the, I only know it as Sextant, but I'm going to have to read it off. Station Explorer for X-ray timing and navigation technology, or Sextant. It's part of the NICER mission that's going up on SpaceX next. Again, every day. That's flying next week. We just continue to make the progress that we need to make. It's really, really exciting. And today, we have our budget, right? We kind of knew what I'll call the contours. We always talk about sand charts when we look at the budget. We knew the contours of the sand when we talked back in March, and they hadn't changed much. They're about the same. So we're pretty excited. We've got $19.1 billion as an agency, and it really reflects the President and the administration's confidence in us moving forward in our direction and the importance of everything we've been achieving as an agency. I think you guys can take a lot of confidence in that when you see what's happening from the overall pressure on the budget in the entire country. We did really well as we go forward. We've had a horizon goal for some time of putting humans on Mars. We're there today with our scientific platforms, bringing back the kind of data we need, but this budget sustains that work toward getting toward that horizon goal. It gives us the resources we need to keep exploring our solar system, beyond our solar system, and exploring here on our own planet. Worried about our own home, what we're doing here, and the technologies it's going to take to increase the aviation industry here in the U.S. There were still some hard choices that we had to make, right? We always do. That's what we do as an agency. We just can't do everything that we want to do, but we can do a lot, and you guys do a lot every day, and I think that's what, if you really want to see where it all plays out, it's out there on the web at nasa.gov/budget. So we post everything, so it's all there in gory detail if you want to get into it and see where your own areas are affected. You know, I think over the last couple of months, we've had the President really recognize the work we're doing. It was pretty amazing to be there when, if you guys all know astronaut Peggy Whitson, who's on station right now, just finished the spacewalk this morning. She's now holds the record for the most time in space. And I was there when the President called, did an uplink with the ISS folks to congratulate her on that. It was pretty neat. We got rovers on Mars and an orbiter at Mars bringing back the data that's going to help us get ready for taking humans to the red planet. Again, very exciting. Team at Goddard just finished the James Webb Space Telescope testing. and the telescope's been moved down to Johnson Space Center for the next big test to put it in the cold vacuum of space and run it through its paces there. That mission is moving out. Couldn't be more proud of that team and what they've done to get that next great observatory ready to go. SLS and Orion are far beyond concepts at this point. Like I said, we've got an engine test today. We have a solid rocket booster test later this summer. The first sections of the core stage have made it to Marshall Space Flight Center for the structural testing that's going to go on. Orion continues to make great progress. We're putting their systems together down at the Cape. It's just exciting to see all the progress being made there as we move toward that first integrated flight test, EM1. The first of many, right? We're not just pushing toward EM1, we're pushing toward a series of missions to build that program and put that infrastructure in place that's going to allow us to have a backbone for a deep space exploration as we move forward. Solar electric propulsion, a technology that space technology has been working on for a while, and it was really part of the asteroid redirect mission. We're going to continue that because we think it's a key linchpin in what we're trying to do with the power propulsion unit in an area around the moon where we can actually do some more of that infrastructure we think we need as we head toward putting humans further in space. And of course, our next X-plane is in development to advance the supersonic flight. Very exciting times, y'all, very exciting. And each one of you, every day, is helping us to create that future and keeps us focused on that big picture that informs everything we do. You know, we see our work in the context of making life better for everybody here on Earth, and that unfolds in a whole lot of ways when you think about what we do. You've heard me before, and I'll say it again, I really have started resonating with this whole concept of why NASA, why are we here, and what do we do from that perspective. And I really like to say we can never forget the N in NASA, which is national, right? If you think about that, it's because we're not headquarters, we're not Goddard, we're not Langley, we're not Johnson, we're not a single center, right? We're an organization that does tremendous things as a group. We have a balanced portfolio. We're not a single program, we're not a single mission, right? We're a lot of programs and a lot of missions. And we cover this broad spectrum, right, of well thought out programs that they're integrated, and we try to do them in a very strategic way. And they're very aligned with the Space Act that was written 60 years ago that created NASA. 2018 is going to be our 60th anniversary as an agency, right? And it's pretty fascinating when you see what we do today and you go back and read the original Space Act. Yeah, some stuff has changed, but for the most part, we're very strategically aligned with what we're doing. We really have maintained that continuity of purpose over time, right? And I think this budget continues that for us in supporting not only what we want to do as an agency, but also several other national priorities. As we approach that 60th anniversary, you know, this budget will maintain that. It'll maintain our place as a leader, I think, a global leader in space, and a global leader here at home in aviation and aeronautics and what we do. We appreciate the continued bipartisan commitment we get. If you look at the Transition Authorization Act that we got for 2017, you look at the omnibus we got for 2017, the appropriation. I mean, it's a pretty incredible bipartisan support we get as an agency, and we should be excited about that. You know, one of the challenges we have is our goals and our programs typically, they can work over decades. You think about how many different budget submittals, how many different budget processes we have to go through just to get a long-term program in place. It's very difficult to maintain that continuity of purpose. And I think for us, what this budget says is keep going, right? And that's a good thing for us because some of these missions we're trying to do are long-term and are going to take us a while to get there. If you think about what we do, though, you think about kind of the fundamental, I'll call it, in our gut while we're here. I think we have a historic and enduring purpose as an agency. And that historic and enduring purpose is really around three major strategic themes in my mind, right? It's discover, explore, and develop. And these correspond to all our missions of scientific discovery, missions of human exploration, the technologies we develop, and then the development of aeronautic systems and aviation safety that we do for this nation. We're focused on these, but we never lose sight of the other contributions and the other things that we do as an agency. You know, that's kind of what I just described as kind of our day job, right? And I think what we really do in the other areas is we inspire the next generation. You know, that's what we do as an agency. We inject that innovation into the national economy. We provide data to national leaders to solve some of the biggest problems this nation has. And then we support this global engagement and diplomacy that I think is so important in a role that we play as a leader in the international part of what this agency does. You know, the president said, American footprints on a distant world are not too big of a dream. And we're executing programs step by step to make this dream a reality, as well as that broader quest to explore and understand our environment, our universe, and our whole aviation and aeronautics world. Some of our new missions are going to deliver the benefits that will reach far beyond the significant milestones we're trying to get today. The list is pretty amazing when you think about it. There's Solar Probe Plus. There's the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, or TESS as we call it. The InSight Mars Lander, and as I mentioned earlier, the Webb Telescope. They're all scheduled to fly in 2018, right? That's what we're going to do during this budget year. Very, very exciting. And then, of course, we continue the development of the next generation X-plane for NASA. That's going to fly in 2021 to really investigate low-boom supersonic flight, which could be a tremendous game changer for not only this country, but the economy in general. As a traveler, I'm looking forward to that personally. You know, we're going to continue working with our commercial partners to fly astronauts from American soil for the first time here in a couple of years. So that's a big goal. This budget continues to support that. And we continue to head toward an integrated flight system test for our exploration mission with SLS Orion and ground systems. So the human exploration side of this is very important. The budget really supports that progress, right? But it's a very diverse portfolio. A lot of you work on different things, and I think everybody can hopefully find themselves somewhere in that explore, discover, and develop piece of what we do as an agency for the American people. Each of you in the centers, you know the full scope of what I'm talking about, right? You're doing it every day. And I've had a chance to visit a lot. I mean, I've gone all the way from, I started here in '89, and just even last week I saw something for the first time. I was at the NBL, the JSC guys took me to the neutral buoyancy lab. Pretty exciting, right? You'd think I'd seen everything, but I got to go see those guys and watch that team work very professionally to get ready for a test run, right? We're doing that kind of stuff every day in this agency. And it's just about the challenges. I know how you guys face the challenges. I know the pride you take into it. I know the dedication of this workforce. It's what fuels the success. Now, there's some hard things we had to do in here, and so while this budget no longer supports several Earth science missions, the OCO3, the PACE mission, RBI, and Clario Pathfinder that are doing, there's still 18 good space missions going and several airborne missions going to support the science side of the house. So I'm excited about that. We'll still bring back the data that we can do there, and we'll go through that. It also no longer supports a formal Office of Education, but I think we'll continue to inspire that next generation. That's what we do, right? We do it through our missions. We do it through many ways of the work that incites that and encourages the discovery by learners and educators going forward. Let me tell you, we're committed, as we always have been, to inspiring that next generation with what we do. And we're going to engage the public in the compelling stories of what we're trying to do and the missions we're trying to create, and making those things that are impossible possible. Same time we're going to do this, we're going to actually take a good hard look, use this opportunity for NASA to revisit how we do public outreach and public engagement. It takes place all over the place, at all the centers throughout this country. We engage in that, and we got to leverage those synergies moving forward so we can really kind of create that nexus between education and outreach to facilitate those meaningful connections that bring those folks forward to us. I don't think there's another workforce that does more to inspire others than you do. The willingness to share your time and expertise. I've been to several of the things we do as outreach events in this agency, and it's great to see the NASA folks there encouraging the next generation to, whether it's a robotic competition, whether it's a moon buggy, great exploration rover, but it'll always be a moon buggy race to me, sorry. The exploration rover we do in Marshall, or whether it's the rocket challenge that just happened out here in Virginia a couple weekends ago. The NASA folks are there, they're engaged, and they're trying to help folks as we move forward. That mentoring and the overall impact of the work across the globe, you continue to make people want to follow us, right? That's what you guys do, and it's very exciting. You know, in each of these successes that we have, they bring that inherent inspiration that's going to make someone or lots of someones at some point jump into this field and come join us someday. We need that. We got to inspire and share, because we need people to come take our jobs, right? There's got to be somebody standing here when NASA turns 120, just like there's somebody standing there when we turn 60. So I see these young faces at these conferences. If you've ever seen them, they're excited. When all the downlinks from the astronauts, just the public meetings that we have, it's pretty exciting. I call them I see the Mars generation, right? They're excited. They want us to get to Mars, and that's what they want us to go do, and they're very, very much a part of that. And we're going to keep bringing that potential to NASA and the things that this budget enables to keep inspiring them to want to be part of our team and want to join us someday. Because they're the ones that are going to follow in our footsteps and pick up, frankly, where we picked up from the generation before us, right? And so we can keep doing what we're doing. You can get all the details online, as I said, but I do want to mention a few other specifics about the budget, just to kind of give you a feel for what's out there. Some of these I've already talked about a little bit, but I'll hit them again. You know, in science, for instance, the budget supports about 100 missions going on, roughly 40 missions that are preparing for launch, and 60 that are operating. So it's a good, healthy mix for what we're doing. Our work here just leads the world in size, scope, and impact. I truly believe that. And I think, you know, when you think about it, the budget's going to keep us with the next selection of New Frontiers missions moving forward. We'll be able to make that selection. And it does the formulation of our Europa mission that's so important for us to go see. We think there's a great opportunity there to find that, but that always that search for is there life out there somewhere else as we move forward. The space weather and upcoming heliophysics work continues in this mission, and it continues the support for the Wide Field Infrared Survey Telescope, or WFIRST, which will eventually succeed James Webb Space Telescope at some point. Most of you know about the NASA Aeronautics Research Program and how it advances our U.S. leadership in a very, very large global environment. Very important for us to do that. We'll continue to do that by working on the key technologies, not only the low boom stuff, but the key technologies that make aviation safer, more efficient, and more economical moving forward. Takes that step to put that X-plane in place that I talked about, and I think this is going to be very, very exciting. And then we continue to work, how do we put these unmanned aircraft systems into the airspace that we deal with on a daily basis. You know, I don't think you have to be an engineer to understand that. I think you just got to be somebody that travels to enjoy what our aeronautics folks do. As we say, we're with you when you fly, and I believe that all the time. Space technology program is enabling, you know, a lot of the rapid development of some of these transformative things that we need to go do, whether they're support of science, whether they're support of human exploration. But the space technology team is really working on those the technologies we need for our future missions. And they'll increase the overall national capabilities and industrial base as well. That's a goal that space technology has moving forward. They're going to support their diverse portfolio all the way from completing the solar electric propulsion work to the laser communication work that we're doing for the next generation of comm when we get on orbit. How are we going to deal with that? A lot of cross-cutting technologies they're working on, and a lot of you guys are engaged in those today. And while we're ending the asteroid redirect mission moving forward, we will take those technologies from solar electric propulsion as probably the best example, and move forward those and actually morph those into a different mission as we go forward. I think we have a budget that does support the continued cadence of missions that we want to have to get humans to Mars in the 2030s. I believe that's where we are. The European Service Module, you know, it'll be delivered to Kennedy for integration to Orion in 2018. So great progress being made there for the first mission. We've got prototype ground testing of habitat modules, which is the next step even after that we're trying to work on. And that'll happen in 2018. Several folks want to be participating in that. The ISS continues to be kind of our jumping off point. This is our linchpin, right? This is our low Earth orbit stronghold. And that's where we're doing a lot of the work that we need to do to retire the risk associated with technologies, but also retire the risk associated with what happens to the human body. And the teams are up there learning that every day. And I think this is where we're going to learn systems too. We're going to take the systems up that help us to take those next steps. We're going to put an additional crew member on. We got some seats that we've bought that are going to have additional U.S. crew members coming up in September. So it's very exciting to see that we're going to have extra crew members so that we can really crank up the research that we need to do and the science we need to do on station. And again, ISS just continues to be a great example of public-private partnerships. If you think about the opportunities that people are taking to come there, it has truly become that spot where that I think we really wanted it to become at some point, where folks wanted to come to the station to test out their systems and use the International Space Station as this wonderful lab that it is on orbit going forward. And the teams are doing a great job keeping it in play. And then of course, even on the human exploration side, we're going to announce the next crew of astronauts here in the next few weeks. So that's an exciting thing for us to do as well. We had 18,000 people apply. So there's no interest at all in what we're doing. So just a whole lot to look forward to as we move forward. You know, for me, I've said this several times, I think you guys are, some of you may be tired of hearing it. When we look at the overall resource scenario that we have in the agency, you know, it's not this and or perspective. It's got to be an and, right? It's just got to be an and. We cannot do this alone. We're going to need our international partners. We're going to need the American industry, and we're going to need academia to jump in and be part of this. And I think if you think about what we've done over the last few years, we've proven that model will actually work, and we can actually utilize that because the sum of all that is better than just these individual pots going forward. And we've been evolving to that new way of business for a while, and industry's been a great partner. The international partners continue to be a huge part of our success when you think about what we're doing in all aspects, by the way, not just human exploration, but all aspects of what we're doing. I mean, Jay Shin is over in South Korea right now, having conversations about UAS and the airspace there, right, where we're sharing those kind of thoughts. You know, science has an international part of just about every mission we fly, so it's exciting when you see what we do with the internationals, and then how we can move forward with that from an industrial base here in this country is going to be really, really important. I think this budget will help us do it. We want big companies, we want small companies, we want everybody to come to help us do this, because this journey is hard. Right, this is a long journey we're on, and it's hard, and we need all the intellectual intelligence we can get to make us be able to do that. It's that combination, frankly, that makes this such a vibrant place and such a place that everybody's excited about coming to. At least I hope you guys are. I'm pretty excited every day I come in, except for the traffic. We can do without the traffic. That's why I need that personal air vehicle. I keep telling Jay, I need my Jetson car. If I can get my Jetson car, I'll get to work a lot faster instead of being stuck here in D.C. on the road. I know why they call it a parkway, because I seem to be parked there a lot. Anyway, but I think this whole program that we're doing, that we propose in this budget of exploration, discovery, the pursuit of all the technologies we need, whether it's research in aeronautics or technology for space, it's just a huge source of pride for all of us, right? That's why we're here. That's why we come to work every day. And that's what pushes us. And I think our history gives us confidence that we can do this. We've done it before, and the resources are enough, and what we request, you know, represents an investment that will return back to the American taxpayers. I think NASA is an investment. I really believe that, and I think this budget shows that going forward. So we do that together. We do that as a team, you know, as we move forward. That's what we're going to do. And I think this budget just keeps that momentum going, so we can keep pressing forward to make do the great things that we want to do. You know, I look forward to working with everybody over the coming year as we for 18 and see what kind of accomplishments we make. It's going to be so much fun to stand here and talk about what we did this past year, knowing what's coming up. It'll just be exciting to see how far we've come. I look forward to working with the Hill and Congress on the budget and explaining to them what the elements are. I think that'll be part of as you guys know, that's part of the process. We're proposing, and then we get to go debate that with the guys on the Hill and talk about why this is an important budget for us to hit the objectives we want to go do. So, pretty excited about where we are. Very excited actually in terms of what we're trying to do, and the whole message of, hey, keep going, guys. Constancy of purposes. Let's make sure we're doing the things we said we were going to do, doing them on time, doing them on schedule. So thank you again for everything you're doing for NASA and for this great nation. Keep it up. Thank you, guys.